Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm Erin with Happily Ever Allergy, and today we're going to be talking about all things sesame. I know you may be thinking, sesame, that's a strange topic for a video. And in general, prior to this week, I would have agreed with you. Sesame is currently listed in the United States under the FAST Act that was passed in 2021 as one of the top allergens that needs to be labeled on food product labels. Now, for those of you that have been living with a sesame allergy for a long time, I know that you have been looking in anticipation to January 1st, 2023, when all food producers needed to include sesame on food product labels. For those individuals living with food allergies, even trace amounts, the smallest of amounts, can cause an allergic reaction. Those allergic reactions could be minor, such as hives or small amounts of face swelling, all the way up to life-threatening anaphylactic reactions where breathing can stop and death can happen. And for those of us that have family members with multiple food allergies, it's a day-to-day struggle to identify foods that are safe for your family. And when there are allergens that are not on food labels, those are the trickiest by far because the awareness is not there as to when those ingredients are present in foods. The allergy community has been looking forward to the implementation of the FAST Act, and it has relieved, in a lot of people's minds, some of the pressure. However, there's been unexpected consequences. Because of the strict requirements that require cross-contamination prevention, there are many circumstances in which companies have chosen to add sesame into products that previously didn't contain it. Now, we need to discuss cross-contamination risk and what that looks like on a food product label. In the United States, cross-contamination risk does not need to be listed on a product label. Things such as may contain or in a facility with are all put on those product labels at the discretion of the company. That is not required by the FDA. So what that means for an allergy family is that some families look at that product label and they see a may contain and they automatically eliminate those product items from their diet, which is fine. That is their prerogative and that's their right. However, many people assume if there is not a may contain warning that that item is automatically safe. Unfortunately, because may contain labels are not required, any risk of cross-contamination is still present unless you contact the company directly and find out if the facility, the product line, the manufacturing in any way contains your top allergen or your allergen at all, regardless of if it's a top allergen. So if you see a label that does not contain a may contains warning, for some people that means they need to double check with the manufacturer if it's safe. For families such as mine, we have not had any issue with cross-contamination allergic reactions. The threshold that my family members have for in which case they have an allergic reaction to their allergies is a little higher than some people, and trace amounts have not been an issue for us. So in the case of bread products, we personally are allowing our child to eat products that have a may contain warning. Now, that may change if he ever has a reaction to an item with it, but we personally draw the line at anything that says it contains one of his allergies or has the item listed in the ingredient list. Unfortunately, the whole sesame situation has really hit the fan for a lot of us. What has happened is bread producers have identified that sesame is hard to keep out of their facilities. If they're using it in some bread products on their manufacturing line, the requirements to help eradicate the sesame and prove it to be sesame-free for the items that do not contain sesame proves to be apparently quite difficult. And the risk for cross-contamination is apparently much greater than many of us thought initially. This is probably stemming from a lack of understanding on the consumer's part. And in like the case of mine, I've never looked into it. I've never called a bread manufacturer or contacted them to find out about sesame. If I didn't see sesame seeds in a label or on top of a bun, I assumed it was safe for my child, and he personally hasn't had reactions. For many families, especially those in smaller communities where they don't have many grocery store options, this is hitting especially hard They don't have the opportunity to go to countless grocery stores and find the few products available that don't contain sesame anymore. Let's discuss this from a nationwide standpoint. And this is something that is hitting people all across the country. The products available to them have been stripped in half, if not more so. Some people aren't able to find safe hot dog or hamburger buns at all because the producers in their area use sesame seeds in some of their product lines and have then now added sesame to all their product lines. Also, when it comes to restaurants, this is having an immense impact on those of us with multiple food allergies in their home. Companies such as Culver's, Chick-fil-A, Wendy's, and Olive Garden are all at the mercy of their bread suppliers, and at the moment claiming that all of their breads will have sesame in them. I should say not all. There are exceptions. For example, Chick-fil-A, they have a gluten-free bun that is packaged separately that does not contain sesame as part of the product ingredient. And because it's a gluten-free bun, you can be guaranteed it comes pre-sealed in a package. And so you know it's not coming in contact with other bread items that do contain sesame in their restaurants. And I believe Culver's also has a gluten-free bun. This is creating an immense amount of stress, as well as, in some cases, the feeling of food insecurity, because many allergy families are dealing with a lot of different foods that they have to work around, allergies that they have to avoid. And so to take staples such as bread that they've been able to rely on for years and now have it not available, it's truly challenging. And in many of our cases, our family members with significant numbers of food allergies have texture sensitivities or other situations that make trying new brands and new products really difficult. And that comes from, if you've had a lot of allergic reactions, trying new things is hard. Trying new things for people in general is hard. And then when you have the fear of a food allergy reaction, it gets exponentially harder. Over the last few days, I have gone to multiple grocery stores in the suburban Milwaukee area and looked through their bread aisles to see how sesame-friendly different stores are. Why don't you join me? And I'm going to take you back to the last few days to the stores I went to. I went to my Kroger affiliate store. I went to Target and Whole Foods, Meijer, and Aldi. And I will tell you, product availability without sesame varied widely depending on where you went and what kind of items you're looking for. I am coming to you from the parking lot of my local Kroger affiliate store. Right when I entered my store, I found these cute little pretzel buns. And guys, we have a win. This only has wheat as a top allergen, and the date is for today is in January. So these haven't been sitting on the shelves. That is awesome. Please use this video as its intended purpose to show the difference in breads that were previously safe to now. I cannot determine for you what bread is safe for your family and your specific allergies. I'm mainly looking at new products with sesame added. So I'm hoping you can use this as a starting off point to do your own research as to what is safe for your family. I will include a list of companies that have guaranteed to be sesame safe, as well as a website that has done a lot of the extra work for sesame families to show this information. It is amazing. So stick around to the end. To put this aisle in perspective for you, there are all of these hamburger and hot dog buns, and the only ones that I found that are safe for my kiddo with a milk allergy and sesame allergy are these butternut ones. Now, I'm not saying it is the healthiest option out there. It is white bread, so we're not talking a major nutrition factor here. However, of all of these buns, the only company that does not have milk, egg, or sesame is this company, Butternut. So here's a product comparison for you. These Smart Way enriched buns on the top are only $1.19, and they contain sesame in them. So sesame is added as the last ingredient, you can see. And then the previous bun that I've been telling you about that was the big win, Butternut, you know, it's almost 3 times the cost. It is 3 times the cost on a normal day. So while I'm grateful for this company, it stinks that you have to pay 3 times as much to get a safe product. So I actually did way better in Kroger than I anticipated doing. In general, it seemed about maybe half of the bread companies that we previously could eat, we couldn't now. So that was especially like Brownberry, which we never could have, the Sara Lee and things like that, Thomas's, which we also couldn't have before. But there were some wins. There were definitely things that we could still have that were safe, and even though we had to pay a little bit more for like the butternut bread, or whatever, it's something that my kiddo can have. All right, friends, Annette and I will go Aldi. Let's go ahead and see how sesame allergy people will fare in the bread aisle here. The plus side to doing this, I'm finding new items that my family can eat. These brown and serve rolls are safe for us. Unlike the hot dog and hamburger buns at my other stores, these Love and Fresh hamburger and hot dog buns do not have sesame added. My Kroger store had, almost all of them had sesame added to them. The hamburger buns also. So that's really good. I know that these won't work for everybody if you may contain eggs and milk. So I know it's super hard when the brands that you know and trust alter their recipes. And that's what makes this situation so hard. And this bread also is sesame free. Oh, I've never even seen the Lewis's Hawaiian bread here before. Let's check it out. Okay, so this is the same as in my Kroger store. It contains soy and wheat and has a much longer allergy advisory statement, which compared to adding sesame in, I greatly appreciate. Right, if you are able to have milk, this beautiful brioche bread does not have any sesame added. It does have milk, eggs, and wheat in it though. I eat brioche bread because of the milk added in most of them. But if you look at these beautiful brioche rolls, it says may contain. So in my opinion, this would be a product that they didn't change their processes, but I know that this company makes full-size hamburger buns that also have sesame seeds on them. And if you're able to eat them, they are delicious, but they also sell ones without the sesame seeds. If you are a lover of naan, their naan it still contains milk and eggs. And it has a may contain for soy and sesame, but there is no sesame added. This was the item that really upset my kiddo. So these are the Hawaiian rolls from Aldi, and they have been dairy-free and egg-free for years. And if you notice, sesame was added. So I'm disappointed. This one hurt. This artisan bread is from the same Love and Fresh company as the Hawaiian rolls, and it also has sesame added to it. The plain bagels are another loss for those with a sesame allergy. Similar to Thomas's, sesame seeds have been added to them, and I'm sure it's because the sesame seed bagel is so popular. To be honest, I feel the same way. I absolutely love a good sesame seed bagel. Now I just eat it at Panera when my kiddo's at school. And while all of the large bagels contain sesame, the small ones, the mini bagels, are a may contain. So I don't know about you in your house. In my house, as long as it's not listed as an ingredient, we allow my son to consume it, and that's because he hasn't ever had a reaction from a cross-contaminated item. And so I know that the risk is out there. It's something that we are comfortable with at this point in our allergy journey, and that may or may not change. All right, friends, so that did not go quite as poorly as I thought. You know, there were probably about 6 products total that had sesame seeds added that didn't previously. So that mainly was the artisan bread, the Love and Fresh Hawaiian rolls, bagels, pitas, but there were still a lot of tasty bread options available. For example, all the French breads, the sourdough breads, and the sandwich breads all seemed to be the same as they were a few weeks ago. Now, obviously, this is something we're going to have to be diligent about and keep checking every time we purchase them, because they may or may not change. I would like to think that if they haven't changed by now, they may not. But, you know, as allergy families, we know we have to double check, triple check all the times when you purchase an item and before you feed it to your allergy family. I'm at Target this morning. Let's go see how sesame allergy families fare in a store such as Target that doesn't have as wide of an option as a normal large grocery store, because they have to have fewer product. I suspect that we might not fare as well here. Let's go check it out. All right, friends, so it didn't go as badly in Target as I had thought. Sorry I couldn't walk you through all of the options. Because of the music playing, I couldn't speak at the same time, or otherwise I get hit with copyright infringement. So anyways, the bread choices. One, if you notice that the Market Pantry bread labeling was actually flagged with an allergy warning on the front. So I appreciate Target doing that to let people know of a recipe change. That is huge. Also, the Favorite Day line of breads look like none of them had sesame added. A few, like the croissants, I believe, had a sesame warning for in a facility. And then the Canyon Bakery has gluten-free bread that does not have any sesame in it as well. If you are looking for a hamburger or hot dog bun, just like my Kroger stores, the only available option here in Wisconsin that I've seen so far is butternut as a safe choice in these large grocery stores. My Aldi did have ones without sesame added as well, but we will see if there are other options available. So for the sandwich breads, there were a few other options, but most of the national brands did have sesame added as an ingredient. So I would say similar to my Kroger affiliate, at least half of the bread options that were previously safe for my child with a milk allergy, about half of them are no longer available for us here. I've never shopped at Whole Foods for bread consistently before, so I don't know what their product labels normally look like in terms of whether or not there are a lot of things with sesame and milk and eggs, but we're gonna go in and check it out today and see what labels look like. That went way better than I expected. So first of all of those specialty breads that had seeds, I didn't see a single one of those specially seeded breads with sesame seeds still in them. So I found that really fascinating. Also, Whole Foods had the Angelic Bakery, I believe it was, brand, and they are listed as sesame free. And so that would be a company that has been going the extra mile to ensure that there aren't sesame seeds at all in any of their products. So that's amazing. Also, their Hawaiian rolls, if you noticed, not only did not have sesame added, they were also egg and milk free also. They were more expensive than what you can find other places at like Aldi. However, if you have a milk and egg allergy and sesame like us, that might be an option for you. Again, remember, I'm just going off of the labeled ingredients. I'm not discussing cross-contamination warnings in this video. I'm talking mainly about sesame added to the ingredient list of products that previously didn't have them. All right, so if you have a sesame allergy and a Whole Foods near you and you don't feel like making your own bread, there were a lot of options that did not have added sesame. Let's go see how everything's shaping up at Meijer. I wanted to summarize my findings for you. So, as a lot of you probably saw, there are definitely a lot of options for bread in the bakery section. So if you're buying like those specialty breads, like pretzel buns and Italian bread and things like that, there are a lot of options without added sesame. But when you get into the sliced bread section of the store with the nationwide brands, there are much fewer options. When you get to the hamburger and hot dog bun aisle, things get dicey. The only option available that did not have added sesame of the hamburger and hot dog buns was the same butternut brand that I've been seeing at a few other stores. It was the only option out of at least 8 brands that did not have added sesame. And that was pretty staggering. So I could totally see if that's not a brand that's carried locally for you at your stores, where this would feel like a bread crisis. Because if your kiddo is used, or a family member is used to having hamburgers or hot dogs, which for allergy families is a staple because it's easy to leave out cheese or other allergens, where this feels like a huge concern. And it is for a lot of us. As a consumer, I will say I've had days when I was really mad about this situation. I was really mad at the bread producers who were making the choice to add an allergen into their bread instead of removing it from their facility. I have dealt with a whole range of emotions and feeling like it wasn't fair. Why should my child have to have half of his safe eating out options taken from him? And I think that it's important to recognize that as people, we can choose one of two routes. We can choose bitter, or we can choose to be proactive and choose to teach ourselves new things. So I'm going to choose to be an advocate for those with food allergies. That's why I started this YouTube channel, to show my child that things that are hard for you can take you one of two ways. You can choose to bemoan it, be frustrated by it, or you can try to cause change. So I'm hoping with this video that we can raise more awareness of the allergy situation involving sesame, that we can draw it to the attention of bread producers nationwide to recognize that opening another manufacturing line to make bread safe without sesame is a good idea. It is beneficial to not only you, but your consumers nationwide to be able to find and have safe bread products for people with sesame allergies, no matter where they go. Also, I'm going to go back to making my own bread again. Now, am I going to make all my bread? Probably not. I have been able to find safe bread options near where I live. And at the moment, I have other things I'm doing, and making homemade bread is amazing. It's delicious. It's less expensive and more nutritious for your family. I just have a lot of other things I have to make from scratch each week. And to balance my time, I'm not going to make all of my bread homemade. However, I do want my kiddo to see that when we're faced with adversity, we can learn new things. So for example, during the pandemic, when there wasn't bread on store shelves for a while, we made all of our bread then, and it was no problem. We were home all the time. We were schooling at home. It was a fun lesson. And I'm going to show him that we can make homemade Hawaiian rolls and homemade bagels at home safely that fit all of his allergy requirements. So look forward to that in the future. In the description box below, I'm also going to include some links to articles that have been written about this situation. There are a few interviews as well, and I'm going to include a list of products that I've been finding through my research that do guarantee to be sesame free, and then ones as well that did not add sesame in as an ingredient. Again, if you are sensitive to even cross-contamination of the smallest amount, then as in general, you need to do your due diligence. This is just giving you information as to where to start your research and finding products that are safe for you. I hope you found this video enlightening as well as helpful for those of you with food allergies and with sesame allergies. I hope you're able to find a new product that will work for you. And in the future, I plan to bring you some homemade bread option ideas. If you need some other ideas right now for learning how to make your own bread, I would highly recommend 2 websites. One is King Arthur Flour. They have amazing recipes, as well as baking specialists that can help you with some of your questions. As well as Frugal Fit Mom is another YouTube channel where she shares lots of her really basic bread recipes that don't contain top allergens such as milk and eggs. Her basic bread, I think she has an easy bread recipe that involves a Dutch oven. That's it. And for some of you that are getting a bread machine, do know there's a lot of neat things you can do with your bread machine. One of my favorite things that I've seen online, Sarah from our Tribe of Many uses her bread machine to just make her dough. And in each of her bread machines, she makes a double batch of dough and then takes the dough and puts it in bread pans. That way she's able to produce a lot of bread in one day with minimal amount of effort. So I would say that if you've just purchased a bread machine for yourself, you can tinker with all of those fun new recipes and have it bake in your bread machine, but you can also use it to make your dough and then bake it yourself if you need to make a lot more bread in higher volume. If you are looking at buying a new mixer to help yourself make your own homemade bread, I would recommend that you look into the Bosch mixer. So the Bosch universal mixer has a significantly larger capacity to knead bread than a KitchenAid. KitchenAid does a great job. I own a KitchenAid and it can do 1 to maybe 2 loaves of bread at a time. But if you're wanting to really produce a lot of bread very efficiently, I highly recommend you look into the Bosch. It is large, it's a workhorse, it can handle, I think I've made 5 loaves of bread at one time in the mixer bowl. So look into that. In addition to favorite websites and YouTube channels that have information on making your own bread, this is my favorite cookbook for making homemade bread. It is the new Artisan Bread in 5 minutes a day, and most of the recipes in here involve basic ingredients, and for most of them they involve raising your bread dough or letting it rise over time in a bucket. And so you purchase like a special rising bucket, and that makes it really convenient. You spend less hands-on time allowing your bread to rise slowly like that, and it does create really tasty bread. So I hope you were able to find information that was helpful for you in this video. If you would please like and subscribe. I have a lot more content coming up that will address both the Sesame situation as well as other recipe ideas and product information for people with multiple food allergies. And please know that you can still have your happily ever after even with your food allergies. Thanks for watching.